shoot, I said as you claim it. Instant Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalker, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man with king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings. Welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Now, today we had the Nintendo Direct. Iron Lords Podcast went live to show you everything over there, and I had to jump in. I had to say my spiel, but they delivered a wonderful show. So if you guys got a chance to watch it, Iron Lords Podcast with special co-host Forte, definitely. Lord Forte. Definitely something to go check out. Lord Donataku came in, our resident Nintendo specialist, if you will, tuned in, showed up, and got a chance to talk about all the stuff that was wonderful with the Switch 2 reveal. Now, we're going to talk about Switch 2 today. Now, I know this is an Xbox channel, but what this is gaming news, period. And that's top news. Also, we're going to talk about the similarities and what I saw with them biting Xbox style, copying. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and they have flattered the hell out of Xbox. So with a lot of you guys talking about how wonderful it is, we're going to talk about the good sides and we're going to talk about the bad sides, because there are a ton of bad sides to go with this. But at the end of the day, Mr. 98% right all the time was on time. Now, a lot of you guys say that I'm not 98% right, but that thing is $499. Now, you can look at that $449 crap and say, King, but they do have a $449 option. When I explained today how that's not really an option for anybody that's money conscious and conscientious with how they exactly spend and collect their stuff, you'll see that I'm right. That $449 was just to appease nobody, actually. And still, all across the world, you still have to pay $500 for this thing. So, how I feel about it, we're going to get into that soon. What we saw a greater emphasis from Nintendo leaning on other aspects of technology in order to bring across a device that is heavily sought after. I think this will be the must-have item this year, in the sense that there will be a lot of things that are available for it. Now, will that trend continue? I'm going to give you the pitfalls today in the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm going to give you the ups and downs of the aftermath of the Direct. But right now, let's concentrate on some of the highs that we saw from the show, and let me report that to you the only way the King can, with a little bit of sarcasm and a whole lot of truth. One of the highlights for me was the fact that they had Breath of the Wild enhanced and Tears of the Kingdom enhanced. Now, I didn't get a chance to finish Tears of the Kingdom, and Tears of the Kingdom needs to get finished. But at the same time, their back compatibility seems to be a robust one when it comes to giving you HDR support to bring the images up to speed. What is it? They're giving you the extra faster load times when it comes to this device. Faster load times, you may seem to think that that's not significant, but inherently that is definitely significant with reducing game time. Because most of the times if you're in load screens, it won't work really good. Save data is actually pretty good. And, additional manual saves for this is also cool. Now, there's little tweaks and turns that where it goes to it, where Zelda notes come into play. Zelda notes coming into play using your handheld, well, using your cell phone. Your cell phone as a companion app is reminiscent of Xbox with Smart Glass. If anybody remembers Xbox Smart Glass with the Xbox One, you were able to use the Xbox Smart Glass in order to enhance a number of part of your games. And they're using the Smart Glass enhancement to perfection. It's allowed you to use in-game navigation with your smart device to reach places in the game that you don't have to have an on-screen map. It's a little bit more of a guide, a little bit more of an in-depth aspect to it. So them looking back in the past to see what Microsoft did shaped the Switch 2. Microsoft hand is all in this, where you can say that they took inspiration from a lot of things that Xbox and Microsoft did. So you can see you using your phone, guiding you to your objective, and when you get to your objective, it actually logs off and goes to another mode or whatever. Then you can just, this thing called, voice memories, right? So the voice memories that's a cool aspect too, because all of that data is saved up in the cloud. When you use the voice memories on with your cell phone device, it downloads all of that voice and all that stuff that doesn't have to be on the cartridge or on a digital version, taking up that space in your hard drive. This allows it to stream it to your phone. So there's extra content that you're able to use with these cell phones in conjunction to the Switch. So Switch leveraging the idea of smart glass and how Xbox had it and taking it to a different level. The next level is actually in Tears of the Kingdom, you can build objects in the world from the materials in the world, right? And you can build like machines and stuff like that in order to get around. What you weren't able to do previously before the Switch 2 was share those objects and share those materials and vehicles with other people. Well, with the smart glass type app, you're able to automatically share it to somebody that's in your friends list in the world, or you can actually put it up there for the community. And you would use your resources and boom, it's inside your world if you received it on the Zelda app. You know, it's little things like this that actually changes how you're going to game. It enhances it, if you will. Now, my biggest question in going into this, because I'm a big Amiibo fan, I have a ton of Amiibos, and my Amiibo use was key to my Switch. Actually, I purchased damn near every Amiibo based off of my Zelda Breath of the Wild gameplay. And using my Amiibos, it allowed me to get stuff inside the game. Well, they take the Amiibo aspect to this to the next level. You're able to scan your Amiibos in. You're able to get more perks and stuff like that. And if you scan your Amiibo in 5 times, you're able to get an extra option to it. So, 4K 60 frames per second or 1080p 120 frames per second is great. They also have huge tracking your play history. And in this, I found out that they do have their form of achievements. They're called medals. The medals is there. They're available for you to use, for you to gain. And, you get bronze, silver, gold, and your global data goes up in this whole data bank, and everybody gets a chance to see that stuff. So I think they're taking stats a whole lot deeper than your normal stats that you would get with your trophies or your gamer score. The overall aspect of the Switch 2 is kind of cool, because I thought it was going to come in super underpowered. It actually fooled me and came in more powered than I expected. So the dock is actually the greatest use of it, but The Joy-Cons itself is a nice innovation, right? So you have the ability to play tabletop. Of course, you get the ability to play it on the go, attached to the TV. And then their new thing is play anywhere, everywhere, always. That's their catchphrase. That's their logo. That's what they're going with. And okay, we already knew that. So what takes this and makes this different than the Switch 1? Why should I have this thing, right? And, of course, it has a bigger screen, but it's not thicker, than the regular Switch. That's cool. All right. They kept it in the same framework, but they do have a 1080p display. Now, they went with LCD, and they didn't go with OLED. I think that kept the cost down because the cost would have probably been $600 or more. 120 frames per second, that's like the max cap in which they're able to operate, and that's at 1080p. So you have to either pick your poison. You can do 60 frames per second, 4K, and that's in dock mode. Understand that part. That's where the dock comes in. Now, the Joy-Cons attach magnetically. And have you ever played your Switch and it kept slipping out? Pause. Well, now it won't. It'll stay magnetically connected. That was a great idea. Very smart in doing so. I appreciate that aspect of it because trust me, I was really pissed off with every time I'm playing a game and I get into the middle of the battle and boom, it slips. All right, so these things are really made a little bit different. Like, it was tiny. It wasn't made for bigger hands. They understood that assignment and they gave you that. They fixed that part. They also gave you some stupid mouse control that I won't be using. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to be putting my Joy-Con sideways shooting a Metroid. It's not going to happen. The wheelie dunk game, that's cool. It looks nice. It looks like a glorified tech demo that I won't be spending that money with. But they updated the speakers. It's a Switch, just greater than, right? And it gave you things that allowed you to feel like it's an upgrade, like a built-in microphone, and that built-in microphone has noise cancellation, so it can actually zone in on your voice, and the speakers allow you to have 3D type audio. We hope that this is not just a one-off and this feature is not just utilized in some games, but actually is taken advantage by all games. I see where they're going. I understand the assignment. I hope Nintendo actually executes when it comes to this, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to partake how we want to partake. Now, the built-in stand in it is cool. You can lay it all the way flat. You can lean it up. It has 2 USB ports, one on the top, one on the bottom. The one on the bottom is, when you're probably on the go and you're just plugging it in, or the one at the top could be used for the sneaky little camera that they got. So they, stole the whole idea of the iToy. They have larger storage. Instead of the 32 gigabytes worth of storage that's inside, they have 256 gigs. That's more than enough for me to store up to 8 games or whatever inside of it. It's absolutely fine. I don't really have that many games that will be stored on that device. The dock is very essential to gaining that 4K, 60 frames per second. So the dock is essential if you want to game at higher resolutions, and it has a built-in fan. And having that built-in fan, you're able to make sure that, one, you don't overheat the machine. So the machine is actually running a whole lot clearer and cooler with no problems. And that's cool. That's cool to know that they're going to have that. So that's where it actually wins at. Pretty cool device. They upgraded everything to essentially what we asked from them. The Mario Kart Racing, Mario Kart World. We know the name of it now. We know how many people that's able to play in it. We know now that, it's the launch title with it. I find it kind of strange that they're not launching with Mario or Zelda, and they chose to launch with a Mario Kart. Well, maybe they do have like a Zelda or a Mario for the end of the year, and that aspect they will launch very well with that. I thought them launching the Switch One with Breath of the Wild was smart. I'm not the greatest fan of Mario Kart, but there's millions. I think it sold like 65 million, and they have different things you could do in this one. You have open world, you have picture mode, you have more people. You can link up with your friends online. It looks a little bit more robust than the regular Mario Kart, but at the end of the day, Mario Kart does not excite me as much as it may excite other people to purchase. So again, take it with a grain of salt. Me personally, I thought that Mario Kart was a decent pack-in, but not the end-all be-all for myself. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Nintendo finally has chat. They have a C button that's on the controller on the right analog, or under the right analog, and you're able to click that button and you're able to go into voice chat. But not only is it voice chat, it's proximity chat with the actual device yourself sitting in front of the device, and you don't have to add anything else. Me personally, I will be connecting my headset to my controller to talk to my friends. But they do have an actual chat now. Welcome to the present Nintendo. Xbox and PlayStation have been doing this already, but they have a caveat to it. You're able to see the gameplay of the other people that's in your chat, even though that gameplay is like at 2 frames per second. But at the end of the day, Nintendo finally has a group chat feature, and it's great that you just don't have to use your cell phone in order to talk to your friends and play your games. You're able to play through the actual device. So I want to see this working in execution, opposed to just seeing the video. So actually, yeah, it looks good. You can share your screen, you can share your stuff. All that stuff is fantastic. At the end of the day, I want to know how it works in execution in the real world scenarios. And also, you have a camera. They have an iToy type device, Kinect type device. Well, not Kinect, because Kinect was actually more. It was greater than. So it's more like a iToy type device. So again, they're imitating and innovating, but copying from the past to bring themselves to the now. This is actually my game of the show. If it wasn't for this show would have got a lesser score from me. It would have got probably a 7. But this was my game of the show. I was looking for a Mario game. I was looking for a Luigi game. I was looking for a Zelda game. But what I got was a Donkey Kong game. And I'm happy that I got a Donkey Kong game, because I was told that we might have a new Donkey Kong game, and I didn't believe them. But yeah, we got a new Donkey Kong game. He has this purple rock attached to his back, but he can tear through the world like something that you've never seen. The whole world looks like you're able to deform the whole world and smash through it, and there's coins all over the place. It allows Donkey Kong to be strong. So Donkey Kong, to me, is the strongest one in the Mario universe. And he's using his strength finally to show you, I guess he's the king of the jungle, right? So it looks great. And then they give you the aspect that you wanted from the old Donkey Kong games, the side scroller, but you still have the 3D world. and the music seems on point, and the wacky and zaniness when it comes to what we expect from a Donkey Kong game is there. I love it. Donkey Kong Bonanza it looks insane. This sold me on my Switch, but it comes out in July. But that's around my birthday, so I'm gonna be happy for it. So yes, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I can't wait. You got a wild evil monkey that he got to fight or go against. I'm about it. Now, don't get me lying to you, but I thought they was gonna out PlayStation when I saw this title. When I saw this title, I was instantly taken aback, thinking, "Oh my God, they're doing Bloodborne." I thought this was Bloodborne being released on the Nintendo Switch 2, but it wasn't. Lo and behold, it was a FromSoft game. But, I'm happy that they did actually, work on this and get this game out because, listen, we know that PlayStation has purchased Blood Katakawa. Well, got some stock in Katakawa. So Dust Bloods coming to the Nintendo Switch as an exclusive is kind of dope to see, even when Nintendo isn't really like that, like buying exclusive stuff from people and keeping it from people. Usually their exclusives are their own stuff, but they did do it with Bayonetta, so I can see this. But the game looks good. It looks like, okay, we can't compare it to another iteration of it, right? Because we did see Elden Ring, and we can compare that to the other iterations of Elden Ring out there because they have a tarnished edition of Elden Ring. So we can't compare that with that. This is Nintendo's only thing, and let Nintendo rock, right? So again, personally, like I said, I like the game. The game looks good. Looks like something that I'm going to have to invest in when it launches. Last but not least is the Nintendo GameCube. The Nintendo GameCube that you're able to play in the classics on the device is crazy. Finally, that they bring this thing to the Switch. You got the Zelda Wind Waker, which is one of my best Zeldas that I like so much. Backwards compatibility. Like, they understood the backwards compatibility assignment. They see the blueprint left by Microsoft and enhanced that aspect of it to bring you those wonderful games that if you had a GameCube or your GameCube curious, you're able to partake in that and actually play these games. So I think it's dope. I'm a huge fan of the F-Zeros and the Soul Caliburs and the Zeldas and all the games that they did show. So I will be taking part in this, with my Nintendo Online, with the family stuff, so I can have the expansion pass, because I'm going to make sure that I have that too, in order to make sure that I get all these upgrades when it comes to Switch only 2 games. But GameCube, and they have a controller, so you'll be able to get a wireless controller with an actual chat button on it day of. So I'm going to partake in this as well. Now, recently, I don't know what the hell's been going on with my video. I'm trying to figure that stuff out. It is nauseating because it's uploading to YouTube, and I don't know what YouTube is doing after it's getting it, and I put my complaint into YouTube. So, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let's start with the good. Nintendo finally did everything we asked them to do. I believe this device is more powerful than the Series S. At the end of the day, This thing is able to output at 4K 60, 1080p, 120 frames per second. Period. It's more versatile than the Series S. With that being said, I don't know what the games look like when they come out with the comparable versions. We'll get a chance to see that. But at the end of the day, also, the Nintendo Switch is, well, part 2 is way more costly than a Series S. So you have to look at it as it contemporaries, and does it fit the bill? Compared to a PlayStation 5 base and a Series X, it's still underpowered in a sense, because I don't think it has the robust architecture inside of it in order to compete. But I don't think that's what they're trying to do. We did see a lot of third-party games there. So the third-party games did look good. They do have a Madden. They do have a 2K. They do have wrestling. They do have an Elden Ring. They do have all the games that we wanted them to actually be able to partake in. And we know that there's a ton more games coming to the device. They did sign a contract with the Call of Duty, so you should expect Call of Duty and a lot of games. Let's get the elephant out of the room. Not one Xbox game being shown there. Technicality on the technicality, the FromSoft game, that is a PlayStation game in a sense, because PlayStation is the largest shareholder when it comes to Kadokawa, the parent company of From Software. But again, at the end of the day, no PlayStation games from PlayStation names there. This was a Nintendo affair doing Nintendo stuff. You could talk about the Final Fantasy VII Integrate that was there, and it hasn't been announced for Xbox yet. I will tell you guys, pump your brakes, hold your horses, wait a second. We will get to that part when Xbox has its show. I think Nintendo Switch 2 was not in the contracts when it came to what Sony had in their contracts with Square Enix, as far as not putting it on Xbox at a certain time. So we know that those games are coming. We also know that we have to wait for whenever they're able to announce it. Okay, let's get to the bad. Price is, like I said, I'm Mr. 98% right all the time. I'm glad that y'all have found me. $500. The reason why the $449 is not an option is because price of games. The digital version of Mario Kart World is $80. No, I did not stutter. It's $80. And the physical copy is $90. Across the world, prices vary, and I'm going to tell you, this is a very costly machine. This is why I didn't think it would be as popular in as far as sales go as the Switch, the regular Switch. So, with that being said, I look for it to be successful initially, but if they continue with the price point of $90 games for the titles that's going to be, mainly Switch 2 only, those titles itself is going to be a little larger in scope, and they're going to take up more RAM. It's going to cost more money. Also, the upgrade, if you have the cartridge version or you have the digital version of a game and you want to have those enhancements, well, you're going to have to pay a fee. Nintendo's not taking any back seats to this. They're not subsidizing any game cost. They're not subsidizing any console cost. They're not subsidizing anything. Nintendo wants their money. They're leveraging the technology that you already have, your cell phones, the camera, which is cool. They're leveraging those technologies in order to bring you the newest and greatest in what they have to offer. And they're doing it with a Nintendo flair. I see DRM all over this machine, but If that's what you're cool with, because they're going into your sensibilities and your gaming habits, they have tracking data, tons of it, but you do have your form of trophies and stuff like that. So again, this show to me, I'm going to have to give it, without Donkey Kong, it would have got a 7. With Donkey Kong, I got to give it a 9. Gave it a 10 on Iron Lord's podcast because I was overzealous. Then I went back and I watched everything. And it was a lot there, but really not that much there, right? So a lot there, but really not that much there. So again, a 9. The show did have a hitch. It did, they did make a couple of mistakes as far as presentation when it came to it because they did have some hiccups and stutters. But other than that, Nintendo showed out. It's a reason why they've been here this long. It's the reason why I feel that they're going to be the last physical company. But as you can see, they're kind of shying away from physical, trying to push you towards digital. And I told you, the death of physical is real. Well, if you liked anything that you saw here, please take my invitation to become a member. Members is lifeblood of the channel. Fight Night Fridays is a great thing. It won't be any Fight Night Fridays this Friday because I have stuff to do this weekend. It's the wife's birthday and stuff is planned and we're out of here. So, again, I drop videos daily, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check me out every day. And on Frontline Gaming Streams, which today I'll probably be streaming some Nintendo games that I got to get done before this thing comes out on June 5th. June 5th is launching. I told you guys that it was coming out in June. That's Mr. 98% right all the time. Told you again, it's coming out in June. I don't know if I will have my copy or my console by the time I get to Summer Games Fest. I might have it. I might have it overnight shipped to me. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take my logo and I'm going to throw it around. What I'm going to play right now, probably play some Mario Mushrooms. And I'm going to tell you, because that shit ain't inside Game Pass. You might as well forget that. Don't forget, my South for Midnight review is going up tomorrow. All right, so it's going to go up for members first, then it's going to release to the public later. All right, so members will have it first, and then it's going to go to the public. But try to play the Game Pass.